This is suicide.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
So I just got done watching The Suicide Squad 2021 and oh my gosh, you guys, like this film is incredible. Yeah, from like start to finish, just all the way through. You can see James Gunn's fingerprints like all over this film in terms of just how it's just jam-packed full of style. Or the action is super well choreographed and shot, just really creative shots on there. Speaking of creative shots, there's some incredible, almost kind of like Mortal Kombat-esque fatalities and the way that they off characters in this game, or in this film. It almost feels like a blend between a film and a game, to be honest with you. But yeah, like if you've seen any of the stuff in the trailers before as well, it alludes to some of the stuff that you see in this film, and it is like, it's just such a coherent style all the way through. Probably one of the most like standout features, I would say, is just the way that they do kills in this film, which is a weird thing to get hung up on, but they just do it in so many different ways. And each new way that they bring it in is even more creative than the last. And the camera does not shy away from letting you really enjoy the gore and the comic death situations that they've invented in this game. And I keep saying game, don't I? Into this film, but honestly, it feels like a video game come to life in terms of just how much there is like playfulness with the script and how it like blends between the more action set piece moments to like the quieter like story based moments, and like the whole way through, like just yeah, I was just like laughing in my seat at some of the most absurd scenes that play out during this film. But unlike the previous 2016 version of The Suicide Squad, this just it feels like a completely separate beast. Like I watched The Suicide Squad that came out in 2016, and it's like night and day between the 2021 version and the previous film that was brought out, which the previous one did feel very bland. There was like, it was kind of like a lot of faceless monsters being killed. Like the whole kind of story felt kind of convoluted. And like James Gunn in this 2021 version just feels like he's just having a lot of fun. He's just having a lot of fun messing around with these characters, making them like bounce off of each other. There's really good chemistry between all of the actors and all of the different kind of situations that they find themselves in. But one of the best things I like about 2021, The Suicide Squad, is the fact that every character has their own moment to shine in this film. There's just there's nice little like tiny moments where each character has their own moments of exposition of why they have like special powers, or their kind of like their backstory into like why they're in the situation that they're in now. And these like quieter moments are like perfectly balanced between the real set piece moments of like fighting giant monsters or fighting like hordes of armies and stuff like that. It's so well balanced and so well put together. I had an absolute blast watching this. The whole momentum through this film is pretty flawless. Like, there's not really a part of the film that I ever really felt like it was like dragging, or that was kind of questioning what was happening. You kind of just along for the ride from the second it starts until the last post-credit sequence. Yeah, it's just one hell of a ride. And that is to mention as well that there is actually 2 post-credit sequences which are worth sticking around for after the film has finished, which are great little touches in of themselves. There is just so much style packed into every single part of this film. It's really hard to overstate that, but yeah, just had an absolute blast watching this film, and I'm really glad that they were able to give this film like a higher rating, so that it could do more with the gore and the comic deaths. And like when you see people get shot in this film or die in spectacular ways, the camera super lingers on the action that's happening to make you fully appreciate just exactly how mad the thing that you're seeing currently is, you know. And a lot of stuff in like previous like Marvel films, you know, you might have like a lot of really hefty action happening, but you don't really ever get to see like the gorier side of it. Almost like harkening back to like the Deadpool films that have come out more recently. It's that level of gore where you're getting to see like a lot of blood splatters, or it's just really well put together. It even, like, as I was talking about earlier with like the choreographed like action sequences and stuff, like every character gets to have their own moment to really kind of like showcase their talents, and in that you get to see a lot of really f***ed up stuff happen to a number of different goons, or unsuspecting bad people. But yeah, I would love to see like the behind the scenes of what goes into different fighting scenes, because there's so much of it spread over the film, but it's never too much. Like there, as I say earlier, there's just like a perfect balance between the action and the storytelling, and they both like go hand in hand. Like all the violence in this film feels justified in terms of carrying the story along. Like it never feels like you're just doing stuff for the sake of it, which is really important. The music in this film is incredibly well implemented. It's spliced throughout the entire feature, and the way that they blend it into the scenes that are playing out as well is really well executed. Like you can hear just enough of a tune to make you get into the mood of what the scene is trying to say, and then it almost instantly pivots into being in like the background or like coming in from different angles and stuff. So that was really super impressive as well. Let's have a look on here. And speaking of stuff like blending into the background, there's also a really creative, probably one of the most like creative uses of titles I've seen in a film in quite some time, and that really helps make this whole world of like DC Suicide Squad characters feel like coherent, where you're never really kind of out of the film. It's like, I'm not going to spoil how they come about or when you see them, but when you see them, like every single time you see a title in this film, it's normally blended into the scene somehow, and each individual way is even more creative than the last, and which was just, it just makes you appreciate how much of an effort was put into this reboot. And it's crazy because this film is like a reboot, but it's also a sequel at the same time. So it's really nice to be able to see like returning characters that might have been offed on the previous film to make a return. And honestly, it's a joy to see every single character interacting with each other on the screen. Like they all have their own specific chemistry. They all have their own specific talents that bounce off of each other. It's just a joy to watch this film. It's just a joy. Do you know what? After like the last 2 years of just the last 2 years of just madness, it's so good just to be able to sit down in the movie theater again and just enjoy a balls to the walls crazy adventure that you're just along for the ride, and just get to experience every single moment of it, honestly. So as you could probably tell by this point in the video, I wholeheartedly recommend going to see The Suicide Squad, the 2021 film. It's an absolute blast. I challenge anyone out there to have a bad time watching this film. There probably will be a subset of people that just want to be absolute jerks and hate this film. But honestly, after like, I've not enjoyed DC films for a long time. I think the last DC film that I really enjoyed was probably Joker. But other than that, like the whole stuff since the Chris Nolan films just hasn't really done it for me. And even the Chris Nolan films kind of like outstayed their welcome by the third one. So yeah, to have me this back on board with DC in this major way is super impressive. Warner Brothers, please let James Gunn direct anything he wants to for you guys next. Like literally give any DC property to James Gunn immediately right now. Just let him do whatever he wants. As far as I'm concerned, like James Gunn is like the Kevin Feige of like the Disney world. So yeah, please Warner Brothers, like just give James Gunn all the money to let him do whatever he wants to do with your properties, because after watching this, like, I've been super, super impressed. Yeah, so glowing recommendation from me. It's so nice to be able to finally recommend a film to you guys. Go and watch the Suicide Squad in the theaters if you're able to, and yeah, have a good time. Please do let me know down in the comments if you've seen the Suicide Squad, and what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time? Did you absolutely hate it? Please do let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any other films that you'd like me to see in the future, or like video games and things you want me to go and check out, just let me know. I'm all open to it. Alright, that's where I'm going to end today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't already. And while you're at it, hit that like button and tap that bell notification so you get any notification when I post new content on this channel. And if you're not already, get on my Patreon. There's loads of amazing people on there which help content on this channel and our partner channel, Boombastic Sounds, as well. So yeah, go down. It really does help me out. I really would appreciate that. But otherwise, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.